just lost me a paying customer.
Oh, my. Oh, I am so sorry. I never meant to...
Beat it!
Please accept my sincerest apologies for the misunderstanding. And might I add, what a lovely establishment you have here. You're right, Applejack. The search continues.
Meanwhile...
Turns out my long-lost cousin, Orchard Blossom, was able to make it last minute. Your cousin who what now?
Well, I do declare it's harder today than the business end of a corncob pie.
Big Mac, we need to have a talk. After 3 consecutive Rarity episodes, Season 5 takes a rather interesting approach with the start of its remainder. It's the first ever episode given to Big Macintosh. Does it hold up? Well, let's see. Applejack is called by the map, as we saw previously, leaving Applebloom without a teammate for this year's Sisterhooves social. With this in mind, Big Mac gets the idea to cross-dress to take her and undergoes the identity of Orchard Blossom. As the festival is carried out, the 2 apples must do their very best to keep Orchard's true identity a secret, and as the obstacle race approaches, Big Mac is determined to win that blue ribbon for Applebloom. An interesting thing about this episode is how it directly connects with the previous episode where we see what Applejack was doing before she was called to Manhattan. In some ways it makes both episodes a little bit stronger, as it feels like the 2 episodes are being told together. Like they're playing off as side stories in contrast to each other, or they both feel like a bigger narrative unfolding as one progresses over the other. Just some kind of crossroads type of narrative. What makes it better is that not only do the events of one episode fit into the other perfectly, the 2 episodes are told in an order that feels proper. Unlike Just for Sidekicks and games ponies play that feel a little clunky in their back-to-back style, Made in Manhattan and Brotherhooves Social are played in an order that doesn't necessarily improve the quality of the writing, but is still done in a fitting contrast. Now let's talk about Big Mac. With this being the first Big Mac-centric episode, you'd think that the writers wouldn't know what to do with him for a full-length episode since he's always been used as a gimmick in the background. But given the synopsis for the story and the way that it's carried out along with Big Mac's actions throughout, it's written very tightly and everything falls into place perfectly. In the beginning, we get to see Big Mac's usual nature, being the type who shows more than he tells, which makes him easier to identify with as a character. We see his frustration and jealousy over how Applejack is the more approved sibling by Applebloom, and it actually makes sense. Throughout the show's runtime, we've seen Applebloom spending more time with Applejack rather than Big Mac, not to mention that AJ has done more than Big Mac with her trials throughout the series. It makes Big Mac really look uninteresting when compared to her, which helps drive his motivation to impress Applebloom. The second and third act mostly focus on Big Mac trying to interact with his environment disguised as a woman, which leads to a lot of cringe humor as well as some basic comedy provided with everyone else reacting to his ruse. It's actually a real interesting change to what we usually associate him with, as it not only gives him more of a speaking role, but it actually changes how he engages with the predicament that he's placed in. And although he's putting himself in an embarrassing situation, his motives are made clear and they're very easy to understand and relate to. He wants to spend time with his sister, and he wants to do something nice for her. That's actually a really good story arc for him to be involved in, and given his lack of participation in an episode as a main lead, it also makes the most sense for this type of story to be a first choice. The story is well paced, and it's nice to see that other characters are given a good spotlight as well. Sweetie Belle, being the only one without a sister at the event, fits into the narrative as an observer to the other events, and she actually provides some good humor working off of Orchard Blossom. Rainbow Dash and Scootaloo participating in the competition is a nice idea as it develops the continuing growth of their sisterhood. And after what a certain someone has had to say about Rainbow Dash this season, I can safely say that this is one of her better appearances. Apple Bloom expresses a number of different emotions throughout the story, such as excitement, panic, disappointment, embarrassment, and even some genuine confidence. Seeing her gush over Applejack while ignoring Big Mac is a little rude, but it's not overdone to the point of insult. The events are fun to watch, such as singing, cheering, jump rope, juggling, and the additions made to the obstacle course. It all leads up to Apple Bloom and Big Mac making it to the end of the race, where Big Mac loses his disguise. And surprisingly, that isn't even a problem. But what is a problem is the damage that was dealt to the obstacle course, as well as Big Mac not playing like a good sport. As a result, well, they lose, as it would make sense given the situation. But it helps to strengthen the ending when Apple Bloom reveals that winning the ribbon didn't matter to her. And that ending, that damn ending. I'm just gonna guess that some people haven't seen the episode yet, so without giving too much away, I think it is one of the most perfect endings that have ever been given to any episode. It's a resolution that not only develops Big Mac, but it develops Apple Bloom too. Just seeing the two bonding again like a good brother and sister while talking about their feelings and personal confessions to one another is just so heartwarming. And it's given just enough screen time to encourage a proper reaction from the audience. It's heartfelt, meaningful, warm, and it tugs at your heartstrings with just the right momentum. Up to this point, I honestly didn't think there'd be an episode this season to beat Amending Fences, but Brotherhooves Social not only manages to be as good as Amending Fences, it fucking surpasses it. It manages to take a character that's been seen for so long as a gimmick and gives him his own story that evolves him into an amazing supporting character. It's an episode that surpasses all expectations given its premise, and it is an episode with so much rewatch value to offer. So if by some chance you haven't seen it yet, check it out and see what you've been missing. MisAnthro Pony, over and out.
Big Mac,
Yup.
how do you think Cousin Orchard Blossom would describe this sunset?
Why, dear, I do declare this is the most beautiful sunset my eyes have ever looked upon. Though sitting here on these tree roots is a trifle uncomfortable for my hindquarters.